the deadliest conflict in human history. Over 70 million lives lost, cities turned to ashes, families torn apart. The world watched as the most brutal war unfolded, leaving scars that would never heal. But how did we get here? What led to this unimaginable destruction? And how did it finally come to an end? This is the story of World War II. To understand World War II, we need to go back to the end of the First World War. In 1919, the Treaty of Versailles was signed, blaming Germany for the war and imposing severe economic penalties. Humiliation, poverty, and desperation filled German streets. In this chaos, one man saw an opportunity: Adolf Hitler. With fiery speeches and promises of a stronger Germany, he rose to power, fueling nationalism and resentment. But Germany wasn't the only country facing turmoil. Japan, hungry for resources, eyed China. Italy, under Mussolini, dreamed of a new Roman Empire. The world was on edge. And then in 1939, everything changed. September 1st, 1939, Germany invades Poland using a brutal military strategy known as Blitzkrieg, lightning war. Britain and France had no choice. 2 days later, they declared war on Germany. The world was officially at war again. One by one, countries fell. France, Belgium, Netherlands. Hitler's army seemed unstoppable. But across the Channel, Britain refused to surrender. Then in 1941, Hitler made a fatal mistake. He invaded the Soviet Union, opening a war on two fronts. Meanwhile, far across the Pacific, another storm was brewing. December 7th, 1941. A day that would live in infamy. Japan launched a surprise attack on Pearl Harbor, crippling the U.S. Pacific Fleet. America had no choice. The next day, the U.S. declared war on Japan. Germany and Italy, in turn, declared war on the U.S. World War II had truly become a global conflict. The war raged on multiple fronts: the deserts of North Africa, the frozen fields of Russia, the islands of the Pacific. Millions of soldiers fought while civilians endured air raids, starvation, and massacres. One of the darkest chapters in human history was unfolding: the Holocaust. While battles were fought on land, sea, and air, an unspeakable horror was taking place in Nazi-occupied territories. Over 6 million Jews, along with countless others, were systematically murdered in concentration camps. The world would later call it the Holocaust. The world had never seen such brutality. By 1944, the tide was turning. The Allies launched Operation Overlord, D-Day. Thousands of soldiers stormed the beaches of Normandy, pushing back the Germans. Meanwhile, in the east, the Soviet Union was closing in on Berlin. Hitler's empire was crumbling. April 30th, 1945. Hitler took his own life in a bunker as Soviet troops entered Berlin. A week later, Germany surrendered. But the war wasn't over yet. In the Pacific, Japan refused to give up. The U.S. made a controversial decision, dropping atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. August 15th, 1945, Japan surrendered. The war was over. But at what cost? More than 70 million people dead. Entire cities wiped out. The world was forever changed. The Nuremberg trials brought war criminals to justice. The United Nations was formed in hopes of preventing such horrors from happening again. But the scars remained. Families lost, a world divided. World War II was a lesson written in blood and sacrifice. A war that shaped the world we live in today. The stories of bravery, pain, and survival must never be forgotten. Because history isn't just about the past, it's a warning for the future. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like and subscribe. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's keep history alive.